Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Thanks for joining us on the Nightbeat. Weather top of mind with everything going on. And this time last night, we were monitoring what were potential rain showers in the Hill Country and Bexar County. Luckily, things cleared up or managed fairly well. But now we are tracking more rain. Shelby Bertowski here joins me. We're looking at rain over in the Eagle Pass area, correct?
Yes, that's exactly correct, JP. Looking outside with live cam, still relatively quiet today, sitting at about 80 degrees, and even San Antonio saw some rain. We were telling you last night just to be aware of the potential and the chance of rain into this morning, and there were flood warnings in effect for areas of the Hill Country, especially in areas of Kerr County. Luckily, it was still fairly light, but it did provide some much needed rain for areas of San Antonio. This is currently on authority radar near Eagle Pass. This is where we're tracking the heavier rainfall currently. Now it is continuing to weaken, but we're watching for the potential for it to progress, even getting closer into areas of Uvalde. Right now in San Antonio, though, not tracking any rain chances, but like I mentioned earlier, we did see some nice rainfall accumulation. In San Antonio, maybe about a quarter of an inch on the southeast side, up to about an inch. Hill Country saw up to 3 inches depending on where, but we do still have a flood watch in effect. This is until Monday morning at about 9 a.m. This does include Bexar County, Uvalde County, and going into the Hill Country, like I mentioned, till 9 a.m. through tonight for the chance to see up to about 3 inches of more in that bullseye. I'll break down the future cast of what you need to know going forward tonight into tomorrow coming up in just a bit.
A drive-by shooting early Sunday morning has left one man injured. Police responded to the shooting near a downtown bar off of Live Oak Street and 37. That's where they found a 32-year-old man shot in the stomach. Investigators believe a car pulled up, shot the man in the parking lot, and then took off. The man shot was taken to a hospital and is expected to survive. The investigation is ongoing. We're continuing to track the tragic death toll of the Hill Country floods. As of right now, 129 people have been confirmed dead, with 106 of those being in Kerr County. Kerr County officials report 70 of them were adults and 36 were children. Kendall County officials confirm 8 people have died there, and 4 other counties are reporting deaths as well. This as at least 160 people are missing statewide. Search and rescue operations in the Hill Country are back underway after a long pause due to rain and a flood watch. Zaria Oates was in Hunt and Ingram today, giving us a look at the damage more than a week after those deadly floods.
We're in Hunt, Texas, just off of State Highway 39. And to give you a better picture of just how high up the Guadalupe River came on July 4th, I'm 5'6", and this is where that water level is on this structure. And we're not even at the lowest point of the river. This is up on a hill. The river actually at its stagnant level is over here, and this is just about a mile from Camp Mystic. But earlier today, we actually spoke with a couple who didn't want to be on camera, but they explained to us what they heard and saw on July 4th.
I heard all this screaming, several different people screaming. The water was halfway up all these trees.
Coming out and seeing something like that, seeing the water that high, seeing people in trees, what was that like?
Well, it was very scary. You know, I wanted to try and help them, but the water was there and it was going like crazy. Once it got a little lighter, got them to jump out of the trees about 15 feet down into the tubes and stuff, and we rescued them, brought them all up here, but they were up in the trees for over an hour.
Were they kids up there?
Yes, 1 4-year-old.
Hundreds of campers along the Guadalupe River and many other travelers were rescued from trees, floating mattresses, and homes submerged in water. But at least 106 people have died in Kerr County, 36 of them children, and at least 160 people are still missing in the county. Search and rescue missions have been ongoing for more than a week, only stopping for flood watches briefly on Sunday to prevent any more deaths in the Hill Country.
It doesn't flood. This hadn't happened in recorded history in Kerrville. I mean, we've had little floods, they've come up right where y'all were standing and stuff like that. But this was a unique thing.
A unique flood that everyone hopes never happens again. And late Sunday afternoon, helicopters returned to the sky with hopes of bringing closure to these families. In Hunt, Texas, I'm Zaria Oates.
To help with the debris cleanup after the floods, Kerr County has set up some guidelines. First, debris piles on private property that can't be removed by hand will require an assessment for machinery. To schedule an assessment, call 211. Those affected are also asked to monitor county sites for debris pickup schedules and do your best to sort your debris and keep it away from sidewalks, fire hydrants, and utility poles. And we do want to remind you there is a crisis support line for those impacted by the Hill Country floods. The Texas Flooding Emotional Support Line is available 24/7. It provides professional counseling for free. The phone number is 833-812-2480. All calls are confidential. As we have covered the Hill Country floods, Camp Mystic has been a major focus, and now the final missing counselor, Catherine Ferruzzo, has been found. That's according to her family, who said in a statement that her body was found on Friday. In her memory, they're establishing the Catherine Ferruzzo Legacy Foundation to honor her. And you might have seen these green ribbons hanging around poles, over windows, and even on lapels. They're in honor of the victims from Camp Mystic and across the Hill Country, those who've died and those who are still missing. People from all around the state are putting them up to show solidarity with those we've lost and the families who are still grieving. The Associated Press reports that this morning, FEMA removed dozens of buildings at Camp Mystic from their 100-year flood map as the camp grew. Back in 2011, the camp was listed in a special flood hazard area, meaning it could be flooded during a 100-year event. FEMA took 15 buildings off that list in 2013 after an appeal. These were parts of the camp hit hard by the flood. Then between 2019 and 2020, another 15 buildings on a newer part of the camp were also removed. FEMA said the maps are just a snapshot in time and not a guarantee of where flooding will happen. Camp Mystic did not comment on the report. And despite early flooding on July 4th, federal search and rescue teams didn't arrive until days later. Sources say new rules requiring top approval slowed FEMA's response. The state requested outside help only after using its own resources, although President Donald Trump did tout a rapid federal response. He also approved disaster aid, expanding support to more counties as communities struggle to recover. And here's how people can apply for FEMA aid. The easiest way is to apply online at disasterassistance.gov. There's also a FEMA app that you can download on your phone, and you can also call the FEMA helpline at 1-800-621-3362 from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's been more than a week since the Guadalupe River flooded and destroyed so many lives. And Friday, the president and first lady came to look at the damage themselves. President Trump repeated his pledge to the people of the Hill Country, saying he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure people get the support they need.
My administration is doing everything in its power to help Texas, and I can tell you that, and the governor will be the first to tell you that when the request was made for the emergency funds, Christy, I think we gave it within about 2 minutes, maybe less.
As for what's going to happen in the future to prevent a disaster from claiming so many lives, we know Governor Greg Abbott said he called a special legislative session, which starts in about 10 days on July 21st. Still ahead on the Nightbeat, the floods, destruction on a scale that's hard to imagine, but will help you see how it all happened. And while rescue efforts are back underway now, additional rain halted them this morning. Crews say it actually helped their searches. We'll explain why. Welcome back. You might remember this man, a Coast Guard rescue swimmer who is being hailed a hero after being credited with saving 169 people during the Hill Country floods. Petty Officer Scott Ruskin, who was on his first mission, helped guide victims to safety and led triage efforts in chaotic conditions. Ruskin credits the brave kids who stayed calm throughout the ordeal and his Coast Guard team for their support. Well, now Ruskin's heroics have made it to Texas. Congressman Tony Gonzalez is set to introduce legislation to the U.S. House of Representatives to honor him. In a statement, Gonzalez said, quote, "Many lives were saved because of Mr. Ruskin's bravery and selfless commitment to his mission. And I thank my colleagues for working with me to ensure we give this American hero the recognition he has earned." End quote. And this morning, heavy rain, thunder, and lightning put a stop to the efforts being made by first responders and volunteers across Kerrville. Our Devin Karp was out there and explains what the additional rain will mean as the recovery and rebuilding process continues.
Seeing a lot of debris, a lot of homes ripped apart, a lot of homes, crashed into the banks in some circumstances.
The team behind nonprofit River Aid San Antonio has spent the last week waiting to come up to the Hill Country and volunteer. and they got a lot done on Saturday. But on Sunday,
We got that word. We were able to hold people off from getting down to lower elevations, stayed safely 35 feet above, and then finally got that full stop, and we're able to get everyone out nice and smooth.
flood warnings and alerts were blasting on phones across the area as first responders were held back from working in bad conditions.
It's been very dangerous, very muddy down on the riverbank just with our heavy equipment and all that we're working with.
We drove through the streets of Ingram and Kerrville, looking at blocked roads, high waters, hearing thunder and lightning strikes, watching the river rise close to the roads and banks, but thankfully, we didn't see any major damage at the time.
So the rain is definitely going to make the efforts a bit harder to execute, for a couple reasons. One, we'll have to recalibrate, and obviously, we're going to have more damage.
Volunteer crews like River Aid SA say it's going to adjust how they handle things on the ground. But fire crews say it's not all bad news.
And then just the fact that it's going to possibly uncover more debris that we're going to have to go through again, which is a good thing because it could possibly help us.
All indicators are pointing to a much more streamlined logistics system for next week, allocating resources and equipment in the right places at the right time.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Now, we've been talking about the Hill Country because of everything that's happened there and the rain chances that we were seeing. Unfortunately, we are still in a flood watch, but we are nearing the expiration of that flood watch as we are also monitoring rain on the radar.
Correct. So the threat for San Antonio has continued to weaken, but even then, we're still tracking some rain, much needed rain, in our viewing area. Take a look at Authority radar right now. Most of the rain is in areas of Eagle Pass, near Carrizo Springs, kind of near Maverick County, and that's kind of where we're watching the potential tonight as we head throughout the next little while. So this is currently Authority radar just in the last 15 minutes or so. I'll actually loop it so you can see the last 2 hours to see the progression. It really started off relatively small and relatively strong, and it kind of grouped together. And as these storms grouped together, it kind of lost its strength. Now, yes, we're still tracking some heavier rain, but that's off in Mexico, not really as much in this side of the area, but we're starting to see a few showers try to pop up just on the southwestern side of Uvalde County, but that's gonna kind of be it. This is how much rain fell just in the last 24 hours in this area, where you see those yellow colors just to the southwest of Carrizo Springs, kind of on the southern edge of Maverick County. That's where you get about 2 inches of rain or more. But they're not the only ones that saw rain. Areas of San Antonio and even the Hill Country also saw some heavy rain earlier today, to the point where they also had a flood watch in effect for parts of Kerr County. Now, I am going to put it on the last 24 hours just because we saw some rain early this morning, so it was kind of in between and just past the 12-hour range. But once again, where you see those yellow colors, that's where we saw the 2 inches or even 3.5 inches of rain, just all radar indicated. Even closer to San Antonio, they saw about 1/4 of an inch, maybe more. So that's how much rain we saw, and we're still sitting very saturated. We still have the flood watch in effect until about 9 a.m. tomorrow. Now, it is still including Bexar County and areas of the Hill Country through tonight until 9 a.m. tomorrow, for the chance of the 1 to 2 inches of rain for those pockets. A bullseye has continued to weaken, but we're still seeing the possibility of 3 inches or more tonight. Now, the good news is areas, if you're going up to Dallas tomorrow morning, the flood watch has continued to move further south along I-35, but it's still through areas of south central Texas and in areas of central Texas, where Austin also got some heavier rainfall earlier today. So here's a look at the futurecast and what you need to know going through the next few hours. The rain in areas along the border will continue to weaken slightly, and they will continue to move through areas of south central Texas. Now, once again, don't pay attention to the exact location, but as these storms continue to move through, we're tracking the chance to see a few more rounds of some heavier rainfall, maybe some brief pop-ups overnight tonight into tomorrow. But then once again, tomorrow morning, relatively calm, maybe seeing some damp roads tomorrow morning around lunchtime. once again seeing a few more chances of some showers just due to the inland breezes that we're getting from the Gulf. And then tomorrow night, we're tracking more chances of some rain. Now, it is going to be, once again, very brief, very isolated, but that's going to be continuing to diminish already after sunset into Tuesday morning, leaving maybe a brief or a damp day tomorrow. But even then, tomorrow temperatures continuing to be on the warmer side. Temperatures about 92 degrees, still about a 30% chance of rain, despite the chance that it's going to be very isolated at times. But here's your 7-day forecast. Not only are we tracking the rain today, we're still seeing a bit of a break as we go through the middle portion of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Friday and Saturday, there's a bit of a tropical development in areas of the Gulf Coast, and that on Friday and Saturday could have the possibility of seeing some of that moisture get brought up into San Antonio, into areas of Texas that could give us some sort of rain. So we're watching that next weekend. But a good news that we didn't see heavier rain already fall on very saturated ground today, JP.
This has been quite the month for the weather department with the amount of things you guys have had to track and navigate.
Yes, very much so.
Well, we appreciate the work you guys are doing. Thanks for that, Shelby. Nick, one of San Antonio's own, now a major leaguer.
I mean, you can't write it any better than this, guys. I mean, we've been talking about it all week, and tonight it happened. KSAT Cunningham is an Arizona Diamondback. We're going to get you all the details and hear from the young man. Plus, we'll head across the pond for some tennis. Apparently, there was some kind of tournament going on over there. Just kidding. Wimbledon highlights next, right after the break.
With the 18th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Arizona Diamondbacks select KSAT Cunningham, a shortstop from Lady Bird Johnson High School in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio's own KSAT Cunningham is an Arizona Diamondback. All the details next on Big Board Sports. A dream came true tonight for a San Antonio baseball star. You just saw that Johnson High School's KSAT Cunningham got selected 18th overall by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, Cunningham becomes the first baseball player from the 2-1-0 to be selected in the first round since 2016, when Alamo Heights' Forrest Whitley was drafted by the Houston Astros with the 17th pick. Cunningham was ranked the #1 baseball player in the state of Texas for the class of 2025 and was committed to play for the Texas Longhorns. And he spoke with our Larry Ramirez earlier this week.
What is a Major League Baseball team getting in you?
To me, they're getting the best player in the draft, in my opinion. Just a flat-out competitor, a kid who loves to play the game, loves to have fun.
What do you love about baseball so much?
Just everything. I mean, competing mostly, just stepping in between the lines, think I'm the best player on the field every time, and just going out there and just competing at the end of the day.
What do you think about all the media attention you get?
I love it. I mean, that's what comes with it. So I feel like I'm built for the big stage.
Well, the big stage comes with a big paycheck. Cunningham being the selected in the top 20 picks. His contract is projected to be $4.6 million. Not a bad way to enter the real world. Now, the first 3 rounds of the draft were tonight. Rounds 4 through 20 will start tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Another high school baseball player found his new home. Smithson Valley's Luke Williams announced that he's going to UTSA. Now, Williams helped the Rangers make it all the way to the 5A Division I state finals this past season. He joins the Roadrunners group that had their best season in program history and knows how to recruit the best local talent. The Roadrunners will most likely utilize his arm next year. And speaking of UTSA, the softball program signed a big name in the college softball community, snagging former Texas Longhorn Mac Morgan to be their new pitching coach. Morgan was part of the Texas team that just won the 2025 Women's College World Series, and her first spot after graduation is right here in San Antonio. Earlier this week, during her first press conference as a Roadrunner, she shared what she sees in the pitching staff at UTSA and that younger her would be proud of her progress.
Yes, I am very proud of myself sitting here now, knowing little Mac would have never dreamed to do this if she'd never went to college softball and played. Little Mac is living her dream right now, and that's the best thing that anyone can have. I think the Roadrunners do have a great potential, and I think a big thing this year is we're going to be pushing on, believing in themselves, and like coming together and like having that united family feeling, because that's what gets everybody through the hard challenges. There's always going to be the hard things in the softball world, but it's like how you respond to it. And if you come together and strengthen that bond rather than let it break, that's what's going to make us even better.
A spot of tea and a crumpet for you and me. The Wimbledon men's singles final was today across the pond. Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz squaring off, the two top-ranked men's tennis players in the world. Alcaraz took the first set, but Sinner would have the last laugh, winning the first Wimbledon title of his career, 3-1.
Not a bad accent there.
Thank you. My family, we lived in London for about 3 years when I was really little. So.
Okay, good stuff. You learn something new every day. And how about the young man, KSAT Cunningham? $4.6 million. Should have practiced more.
Seriously.
Thanks for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
All right, still ahead. The community is coming together to give back to the flood victims. We'll tell you about several events you can take part in to help out. Plus, we'll help you visualize how exactly these floods occurred and why the damage is so severe. Well, it's no secret that we have seen our fair share of heavy downpours in our area. It also brings up the next question is, how are the river flows, how are the lake levels looking?
So the rivers, we're not expecting any issues tonight, but we're still seeing that low pressure system that brought the heavy rainfall to the hill country this morning and areas of central Texas overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So I kind of wanted to talk about the setup just a little bit. So we have that area of low pressure sitting in areas of central Texas. That's what brought the heavy rain earlier today for the hill country. That's what's continuing to bring some heavier rain in areas near Eagle Pass, because as it continues to move, we're still seeing that wraparound moisture, and that moisture is just kind of sitting in areas of Eagle Pass. But as I zoom into areas of San Antonio, we really saw a little bit of some showers earlier, especially one just near Jourdanton and Pleasanton in Atascosa County. It tried to make its way up to San Antonio, but it kind of ate itself out as we headed throughout the rest of the evening. But the lakes, they have continued to increase after all the rain. Now, Canyon Lake, as of earlier today, is sitting at about 64%. Before we started seeing all the heavy rain last week, it was only about 46. Medina Lake was only about 4.5%. Now they're up to about 5, still up to about 11 to 12% higher. But Lake Buchanan and Travis Lake earlier today, they saw some heavy rainfall. They're up to about 70 and 87%, which is still 10 to 14 feet above what they were just about 2 weeks ago. But we still have a few more rain chances coming up. I'll break down once again what you can expect tonight into tomorrow, plus what you can expect for rain chances next week coming up in just a bit, JP.
Thanks for that, Shelby. We've spoken for a week now about the devastating hill country floods. It's destruction on a scale that's hard to comprehend. The FAA has stopped flights of drones and other civilian aircrafts in the affected area while crews continue their work. But our newsroom put together something to help us all visualize exactly what happened on July 4th.
The Guadalupe River begins at its headwaters near Hunt. That's where the north and south forks of the river meet. Camp Mystic sits on the south fork of the Guadalupe and is situated in a low spot susceptible to flooding, where the river bends and crosses the road in 3 spots. Shortly after midnight on Friday, July 4th, torrential rain came down in the worst place possible, on top of both the North Fork and the South Fork of the Guadalupe. Approximately 8 to 10 inches of rain fell in a matter of hours, which is estimated to be more water than flows over Niagara Falls in a day. The Guadalupe rose quickly. By 3 a.m., the river rose at Hunt, eventually cresting at 37 feet at 5:10 a.m. The river then rose by more than 20 feet in Kerrville in less than an hour, cresting at 37 feet close to 7 a.m. The surge of water flowed downstream, cresting at center point at 7:30 that morning at 39 feet, bringing destruction to Comfort when it crested at 35 feet at 11 a.m. The Guadalupe bends and winds through Kendall County. This means that the surge of water was able to build, eventually cresting near Amon's Crossing at a whopping 50 feet at 7 p.m. By this point, most people near the river had been evacuated. Eventually, the floodwaters traveled the 80 miles of river, cresting at Spring Branch at 4:45 a.m. and entering Canyon Lake. The reservoir was fortunately only 46% full, able to catch the surge of water without having to release more downstream.
Now let's talk about how you can help. If you want to get involved, the Kerrville community is making it easy for you. They've launched a website, kertogether.com. The website will provide everything from volunteer registration to debris removal requests. So if you want to help or are in need of it, visit kertogether.com. The outpouring of support for the Hill Country is coming from across the community, across the state, and from individuals and organizations far and wide. And some rival Texas teams are now teaming up for the cause. The San Antonio Spurs, Dallas Mavericks, and Houston Rockets are selling Texas Strong T-shirts to show their support for those impacted by the disaster. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Texas Sports for Healing Fund, which provides aid to individuals and families affected by the floods. During the NBA Summer League warm-ups, players from all three teams will wear them. The T-shirts are available for purchase online. Here at KSAT, we, along with KPRC, our parent company, Graham Media Group, and Gray Media, have united to launch an urgent donation drive called Together for Texas. You can scan the QR code on your screen, and it'll take you directly to the donation page. We're proud to say the campaign has already raised more than $760,000. All of the funds raised will go directly to the community and to the on-the-ground efforts in flood-affected areas through the Salvation Army. Now let's talk about some events happening this week. The Denny's Mobile Relief Diner is coming through with its 53-foot mobile kitchen to help feed first responders and community members impacted by the floods. Starting tomorrow through Wednesday, July 16th, the MRD will be stationed in Kerrville. Denny's says all are encouraged to stop by and enjoy a warm meal and a moment of relief. They'll be parked at 651 Loop 534 from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily. Twin Peaks is also showing the Hill Country support this week. The restaurant will donate a portion of their proceeds to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, which will support displaced families, first responders, and long-term recovery efforts at locations across Texas. And this Tuesday, Papa John's will donate 100% of profits from every order placed in the region to support flood relief efforts. Several celebrities are also using their talent to help raise money for the victims. On Friday, Tejano star Shelly Lares is holding a benefit concert at Woodlawn Theater. The concert is called One Stage, One Heart and will go from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Organizers are suggesting a $50 donation per person. And on August 28th, Kerrville resident Robert Earl Keene will also hold a benefit concert in New Braunfels. For more details, head to KSAT.com. It's also been 1 month since the San Antonio floods that took more than a dozen lives. The city now saying changes need to be made. And it's not just people affected by all the floods, it's also their furry friends. Coming up, we'll show you how you can help. San Antonio Animal Care Services sent these furry friends on a flight to shelters across the nation. They were former long-term stay pets in the Hill Country shelter. Their transfer allows for the opportunity to help animals being brought in from the floods. The dogs and cats are heading to partner shelters in Delaware, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And San Antonio Animal Care Services is asking for volunteers during these tough times. They're looking for people to help with preparing kennels for use, walking and caring for pets, and folks who can support emergency response efforts. For more information on how to volunteer, head over to KSAT.com. It's been 1 month since flash flooding brought devastation to parts of San Antonio. 13 people lost their lives to floodwaters, 11 of them in the Battle Creek area alone. In all, about 15 cars are swept away along a roughly 1.5-mile stretch on the northeast side. And parts of the upstream Battle Creek watershed received more than 7.1 inches of rain in 3 hours. In the weeks since this flooding event, the San Antonio River Authority has finished a technical assessment. As part of its conclusion, the River Authority recommended roads adjacent to the floodplain be evaluated for flood risk. The San Antonio River Authority report will also be shared with the engineering firm hired by the city to investigate the flooding to help with its analysis.
Taking a look outside with live cam, we're still seeing some nice and comfortable conditions currently, but we're still tracking some rain on the radar here, just in areas of Eagle Pass. But otherwise, that's going to continue to be it. Maybe just a few showers throughout the rest of the night. It has continued to slightly weaken, but we're still watching the potential for a flood watch. We are still in a flood watch in effect until about 7 a.m. That means we're watching the potential for some flooding to be possible. We don't know the exact location, but you need to be able to be prepared in case you do see some flooding happening. Now, we do not have any current active flood warnings, and we are not expecting to get any active flood warnings, but you need to be able to make sure you have a way to get those notifications. I'll break down the future cast of the rain tonight into tomorrow morning coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Your time, 10:44 this evening. You have been extremely busy. The entire weather department has been busy tracking so much, and we're still working on that, right? We got stuff out in the west.
Yeah, I wish we had better news. I know some areas are still trying to rebuild after the Hill Country floods. Parambytal was a month ago, so our hearts are with everyone, and we are tracking more rain. Luckily, we're not seeing any in San Antonio right now. Maybe a quick little pop-up, but most of the rain is actually just to the west. This is where we're talking about Maverick County, just along the border near Eagle Pass into the south. Now, over the last few hours, it's continued to slowly weaken and maybe not produce as much heavy rainfall rates. But what I'm watching is just in areas just to the southern portion of Maverick County, specifically right here where you're seeing a little bit of red along it, kind of looks like a little bit of a Y. That's where I'm watching over the last 15 minutes, where it's continued to make its way through, and that is where we're watching the potential for some heavier rainfall if it does continue to make their way through. But otherwise, still some fairly light rain for areas along Eagle Pass. But in San Antonio, what I'm watching is we're starting to see a few just little quick showers like we were mentioning over the last few, or over the day, where we could see still a few showers pop up tonight into tomorrow. Once again, it's fairly just small. It's in areas of Helotes, just over 1604 between Helotes and San Geronimo. And overnight tonight, once again, don't forget there is still the potential to see the chance of some isolated showers, but it's going to be fairly light. We're not expecting some river flooding overnight tonight into tomorrow, but there is still a flood watch in effect until 7 a.m. because yes, there is still this chance for maybe up to 3 inches of rain, but the ground is so saturated that any chance of, or any rain that falls could still not be good, especially because we're so saturated. Tomorrow morning, though, once again, still having a chance for a few showers if you're waking up, and then we start to see what we've seen. A bit of that sea inland breeze coming up from the coast, but it's also going to meet with some more rain up along the hill country tomorrow night into even Tuesday morning. We are still watching, once again, the chance for some heavier rainfall, but we'll keep you posted tomorrow morning. But it's already gone by early Tuesday morning. After that sun sets, it's really going to lose its steam over the next few days. But once again, we're tracking more chances of some rain later on. Tomorrow, still about a 30% chance of rain. Isolated areas in the hill country could be higher, but on Friday and Saturday, we do have about a 20% chance. I know it's going into the weekend once again next week, and I know it's not the ideal time, but still keep in mind, we do still have more chances of some rain because of this. The National Hurricane Center did put about a 20% chance of development for the Gulf Coast. This goes from areas of Louisiana near New Orleans through the Florida Panhandle, going into areas of Florida near Tampa. Now, even though, yes, it's only a 20% chance of development, but it still has the chance to make its way into San Antonio and to give us some of just that extra moisture for some of us. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that over the next few days. So remember to check back with us as we get closer and closer to it. But here's your 7-day forecast. Once again, still 30% chance of rain tomorrow, but over the next few days, we are going to be a little quieter. Temperatures still staying in those 90s, seeing a little more of those sunny skies, but we're still keeping an eye on the tropics next week, and we'll keep you posted on all things rain tonight into tomorrow, once again, as we get into Tuesday morning and then next week, JP.
As usual, lots of things to keep an eye on, and also looking forward to getting out of that flood watch. You said 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. So we're hoping to get that to that point, and hopefully it doesn't extend anymore.
Correct.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for that, Shelby. Now, Nick, on programming earlier, we had the movie The Sandlot, one of my all-time favorites.
Such a good
Benny
one.
the Jet Rodriguez, I think, is a heartthrob for many out there. Well, San Antonio Sandlot streams are now coming to fruition.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about playing as a kid in somebody's backyard or at a ball game, you want to see your opportunity go to being a pro. Well, how about Kason Cunningham getting that opportunity? He was selected by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're going to tell you all the details. Plus, our Insira Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Play of the Week has a man who has mastered the ability of flight. We'll explain why when we come back.
With the 18th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Arizona Diamondbacks select Kason Cunningham, a shortstop from Lady Bird Johnson High School in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, that was the moment when Kason Cunningham's life changed forever. The former Johnson High School shortstop being selected in the first round of tonight's Major League Baseball draft. His selection makes him the first San Antonio baseball player to get drafted in the first round since 2016. And during the draft coverage on ESPN, he shared how his dad, Marco, who was drafted in 2000, has influenced his baseball career. Take a listen.
Yeah, Pops is one of the most, if not the most influential person in my life. He really got me into the game of baseball. There's pictures of me in a glove 3 days out of the womb. But yeah, he kind of taught me how to play the game the right way. Got the competitive blood out of me, I'd say.
Tell me about playing in Panama City. What was that like, representing USA and how you did there?
That was an awesome experience. That was one of my goals, was to make the USA team going into that summer. Winning MVP, winning gold with my brothers. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Well, Cunningham's contract is projected to be $4.6 million. Not bad for the kid. Well, some other baseball names we know in the Lone Star State were drafted today. Texas A&M's Jake LaViolette was selected in the first round by the Cleveland Guardians. His teammate Justin Lampkin was selected by the Kansas City Royals. And in the third round, Caden Kent was selected by the New York Yankees. Plus, Texas Longhorn star Max Ballou was selected by the Colorado Rockies. The 4th through 20 rounds of the draft begin tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Now to the guys who are playing in the pros right now. Houston native John Paul Barajas is not going to like this. A Houston, Texas showdown this weekend. The series finale, the Rangers bats were bashing baseballs. This solo shot from Adolis Garcia will make it a 3-0 game in the third inning. And then at the top of the 8th, Marcus Semien sends a souvenir into those Crawford boxes as the Rangers go on to win it 5-1, winning their 3-game series against the Stros and strolling into the All-Star break. Now, speaking of guys making big MLB plays, it's time now to hit the road for our Insira Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Play of the Week.
And a soft liner. Oh my goodness, what a catch by Schneemann. And let's just hope he's okay. Man knocked the wind out of himself.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't have stretched any farther than what he did.
That was incredible.
Yes, it was, and he held on.
Cleveland Guardians up in Chi-Town taking on the White Sox. Daniel Schneemann with an insane diving catch in the 4th inning of a tied game. Full extension, eyes on the ball on the way in, and a face full of field on the landing. Getting punched by Mother Earth, but still making the play. Schneemann showing all that jersey on his number matches his acrobatic score. JP, a perfect 10 from the young man for your toughness, tenacity, and ability to take flight. You, Mr. Daniel Schneemann, win our Insira Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Play of the Week.
Schneemann, Superman dive.
Yeah.
You gotta love that after the catch, just for theatrics, the hat pops off from the collision on the ground.
And when you're gonna get punched by the earth like that, how does your hat not pop off? That was impressive.
And he held on to it.
That's the best part. Out of there.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back.
Just giving everyone a quick update with Authority Radar. Yes, we're still seeing some heavier rain in areas of Maverick County. We're starting to see a few little brief pop-ups enter in areas near Leon Valley, like I showed you earlier, into areas of Uvalde County, but we're not expecting them to be causing any river issues. Tomorrow, temperatures getting to about 92 degrees, still about a 30% chance of rain in the afternoon into the evening hours, just a quick downpour. We'll keep an eye on any chances for any river or any lake impacts, but otherwise not necessarily too bad. Yes, I still have Sunday on. This is a morning graphic, so ignore the Sunday, but Monday temperature still about 92 degrees. Tuesday 94. Wednesday and Thursday we're finally starting to dry out a little bit before more chances of rain and moisture returns next weekend.
And the magic time is 9 a.m.
9 a.m. the flood watch ends.
Supposed to expire. Hopefully it stays that way. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.